I am live. But if I am, let's see, because I am oh, it's automatically lowered because my internet connection isn't fast enough. So this is what's going on with me. My, I don't even know what's going on here, what I look like. So I'm going to check what it looks like, if it's even on. And happy Saturday. Oh, it is. All right, I can see it. All right, I see it. So this is what's going on. I live in a rural community. Obviously, everybody knows. I don't have any kind of cable or hard wired or anything. So I have this thing. Had this thing for, I don't know, maybe 4 years, 3 years. And it's a plastic now going obsolete kind of piece of crap. And I had to go to AT&T again. You know, my forays into civilization, they cause me so much stress. But then I get to talking to the people that work there. And this time I had another chat with a young girl there. So, anyhow, it's not working. And I'm surprised. It just said it lowered the quality of the stream. And I'm looking at it on, testing on my phone, and it looks like it's all right, but I can't hear it. So they're sending me a new one anyway. And we'll see how that goes. I can't download a video. And that's another thing. So Jennifer Hines and I did a really nice show on Environmental Coffee House, Facebook. It's like she was sitting in my living room. It was just wonderful, right? And like I normally do, I download them. And I've never had a problem. And then all of a sudden, maybe 3, 4 weeks ago, the downloader looked different, and I can't download it. And even though it's an hour, I can't download it. So it's really frustrating. And I don't know if it's speed. It's probably speed because it times out all the time. And then it tells me, oh, it's going to be 3 to 4 hours for an hour video, which I used to be able to do. So it is all this technology stuff. It's really starting to get frustrating because when you don't feel good, but you're trying to figure out something, you want to stay normal, you want to kind of stay like, alive, uh, doing some things, being relevant. It's kind of hard when you're on, this like uh, ocean. So, and I don't even know if anybody's with me, but here we are. It's a holiday weekend. I didn't expect that anybody would be with me. I can't take this off because I was outside actually potting. I don't know, I got some help, of course, from my husband who brought stuff up, but potting some things, plants, whatever. There is this article, and I guess since I am testing and I do see that I don't even know who's joined me, there's this article though. I guess I can read it while I'm on here if anybody wants to hop on and listen. It was interesting, and I put it on Environmental Coffee House, and it was called But It's Worse Than That. Hey, Veg. Okay, I don't know why I can't tell if anybody's with me or not on eCam. I mean, I should be really testing everything. Scenes and overlays and learn how not to cut off Antonio's head. But anyway, so I just thought I would do this really quick. But if I'm here, I'm going to read this article. I've wanted to, and it's not that long, but it's kind of wild. So it's called But It's Worse Than That. And the reason why I printed it on paper is because I'm giving it to someone. And instead of emailing it, I really want to give it to someone in person. So here we go. It's Worse Than That. It's Rocher.net, the home of Incredibish. Incredibish. And hey, Vegematic, do you know that this says add to broadcast on it? Oh, I see. Add that. Hello. All right, not you like Chris has. Not just adding, because that I would have to do something different. Okay, that's cool. All right. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So, all right, it's another guy's site, and he's putting Mark's post here because It is to date the best all encompassing precise of the situation we find ourselves in. It is terrifying, awesome, and inspiring. So I'm going to just go right to it. Here we go. I realize there is something I have known for some time, but have never said. And since I have just spent another 4 hours of my life in climate change academia, I have to get this out of my system. Hi, Jeffrey. All right. Well, now I'm reading something good, so stick around because we'll talk about it. Please understand, and you know I love narrating. Please understand that many of you reading this won't live to an old age and likely will start scrolling after one or two more paragraphs. Edit. Okay, I was wrong on this point. This is now my second most shared post of all time. Edit up. Make that my most shared. The IPCC report and Paris Accord are incredibly optimistic that commits the world to a target that means the death of hundreds of millions, if not more. But it's worse than that. Even the commitments made by countries in the Paris Accord don't get us to a 2-degree world. But it's worse than that. The 2-degree target is now unattainable unless, of course, the entirety of civilization does a 180 today. And it is based on geoengineering, the climate of the earth, as well as sequestering of every molecule of carbon we produced since 1987, as well as every molecule we are producing today, as well as every molecule we produce tomorrow, with magical technologies that don't exist, won't exist, and even if they did, would likely cause as many, if not more, problems than they fix. But it's worse than that. The 2-degree target of the IPCC does not factor in the feedback loops, such as the increased absorption of heat due to a drastic reduction in the albedo, which is reflectivity, we all know that, effect caused by the 70% loss of Arctic ice, the release of methane from a thawing Arctic. There is more energy stored in the Arctic methane than there is in coal in the world. This is called the methane dragon, or as Jennifer calls it, the methane monster. If the process of the release of the methane, currently frozen in the soil and ocean beds of the Arctic, which may have already begun, but if it spins out of control, we're looking to an 8-degree rise in temperature. But it's worse than that. The report, which gives us 12 years to get our heads out of our arses, underestimated the amount of heat stored in the world's oceans, as we have discovered in mid-January, by 40%. So no, we don't have 12 more years. But it's worse than that. The conservative American Meteorological Society indicates that our willful blindness and greed will have effects well beyond the climate. The world's oceans will see a 150% increase in acidity and over a full degree Celsius in warming. This well down the path to the Permian extinction, where 96% of marine species disappear forever. But it's worse than that. The IPCC report ignores the effects of humans messing up the nitrogen cycle through agricultural fertilizers and more. Don't go down this rabbit hole if you want to sleep at night. But it's worse than that. Sea level rise will not be gradual. Even assuming that the billions of tons of water that is currently being dumped down to the ground level of Greenland isn't creating a lubricant which eventually will allow the ice to free flow into the northern oceans. It's only the friction to the island's surface that is currently holding the ice back. Then consider the same process is happening in Antarctica, but is also coupled with the disappearance of the ice shelves, which act as buttresses, holding the glaciers from free flowing into the Southern Ocean. Then factor in thermal expansion. The simple fact that the warmer water takes up more space, and it becomes clear that we are not looking at maintaining the current 3.4 millimeter year increase in sea level rise. which incidentally is terrifying when you multiply it out over decades and centuries. Well, it isn't a test anymore, Kevin, because now I'm reading. You want to stay with me? That's fine. I'm going to change the topic because it's a good article. So, okay. It's called But It Is Worse Than That. Marc Roche from Gloucester, England. We will be looking at major calving events that will result in much bigger yearly increases coupled with an exponential increase in glacial melting. We know that every increase of 100 ppms of CO2 increases sea level by 100 feet. We already baked in 130 feet of sea level rise. It's just a question of how long it's going to take to get there and then keep on rising. But it's worse than that. 58% of the biomass of vertebrate life on Earth has been lost since 1970. That is basically in our lifetime. But it's worse than that. The amount of carbon we add to the atmosphere is equal to yearly a human-caused forest fire 20% bigger than the continent of Africa. Yes, that's every single year. Drought, but it's worse than that. Drought in nearly every food-producing place in the world is expected to intensify by mid-century and make them basically unusable by end of the century. Then factor in the end of phosphorus. China and Russia have already stopped exporting it, knowing this. And the depletion of aquifers. And you come to the conclusion that feeding the planet becomes impossible. But it's worse than that. We can no longer save the society that we live in, and many of us are going to be dead long before our life expectancy would suggest. If your idea of hope is having some slightly modified standard of living going forward and live to a ripe old age, there is no hope. That civilization is over. But there is hope. There is a way for some to come through this and have an enjoyable life on the other side. Every day we delay can be measured in human lives. There will come a day of inaction when that number includes someone you love, yourself or myself. So we have two options. Wake the fuck up? If we do, we will only have to experience the end of our society as we know it, aka the inevitable economic collapse, which is now unavoidable, but be able to save and rebuild something new on the other side. This would require a deep adaptation. Words like sustainability would need to be seen as toxic, and our focus needs to be on regeneration. Regeneration of soil, forests, grasslands, oceans. This is all possible. Option 2 is the path we are on, thinking we can slowly adapt to change. This is it not only ensures we experience collapse, but also condemns humanity to not just economic and social collapse, but in a 4 to 6 or even 8-degree world, extinction. I am sick of pipeline discussions. I am sick of any argument that is predicated on the defeatist assumption that we will continue to burn oil at an ever-increasing rate simply because it is what we have always done. Fact is, if we do, we are not just fucked, we are dead. I am sick of people who don't understand how their food is produced and its effect on the climate, both carnivores who eat feedlot meat and vegans who eat industrial produced monocrop veggies, as they are equally guilty here. The consumption of either is devastating. I am sick of the tons of shiny new clothes people are wearing without realizing 1 kilogram of cotton takes over 10,000 liters of water and incredible amounts of energy to be produced. I am sick of the argument that our oil is less poisonous than someone else's. Firstly, no, it isn't. And secondly, it doesn't fucking matter. I am sick of people that can't even handle the ridiculously small, only the tip of the iceberg of the changes we need to accept. A carbon tax. I am sick of the fact that the political will seems only capable of focusing on the individual consumer through small measures like a carbon tax, but no capability of focusing on the individual. No capability of focusing on the individual consumer through small measures like a carbon tax, but no elected party seems to have the fortitude to enact policies that it takes to the small handful of companies that are responsible for 70% of our current CO2 production. I am sick of my own hypocrisy that allows me to still use fossil fuels for transportation. I am sick of those who use hypocrisy as an argument against action. I could have written this myself. I am sick of the leadership of my country that argues we have to have economic growth and survivable environment. We can't. I am sick by the normalizing of the leadership of our southern neighbor, who, as the most polluting nation in the world, officially ignores even the tragedy that is the Paris Accord. I am sick that the next image I put up of my kids, cheese, pets, or bread is going to gain immeasurably more attention than a post such as this, which actually has meaning. I am sick about the fact that all of the information I have referenced here is easily discoverable in scientific journals through a simple Google search, but will be characterized by many as hyperbolic. Now, of course, this guy's in Canada. I am confused as to who I am more upset with. Those that have fallen for the denier propaganda, those who choose to be willfully ignorant, those who understand this issue and throw their hands up in a fit of lazy despair, or those who are as cognitive as I am to the urgency of this issue, yet continue living day to day, feeling self satisfied with their recycling, their electric car, voting record, or some other equally inane lifestyle modification while waiting for society to hit the tipping point so they don't actually have to put their values into practice, which, despite my recent life changes, still more or less includes me. All that said, there is a path forward. But every day we delay that path forward includes fewer for us. Build community, build resilience, work for food security, think regeneration, plant food producing trees, think perennial food production, turn your waste products into resources, eat food that does not mine the soil and is locally produced, eat meat that is grass fed in a holistic or intensely rotated, ideally holistically grazed in a silvopasture that is used to provide nutrients to vegetation. Get to know a farmer or become one yourself. Don't be a carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore. Be a greenivore. Park your car. Do not vote for anyone who either ignores climate change or said we can have our cake and eat it too. Quit your job if it's a fossil fuel related one. It's better than losing it, which you will. Stop buying shit. Stop buying expensive cars and overly large houses and then complain that local planet-saving food costs more than Costco's. Stop buying things that are designed to break and be disposed of. Let go of this society slowly and by your own volition. It's better than being forced to do it quickly. Rip up your lawn and plant a garden with perennial veggies and fruit baskets, fruit trees and nut trees. Learn to compost your own poop. It's easy and it doesn't stink. Buy an apple with a blemish. Get a smaller house on a bigger lot and regenerate that land. Plant a guerrilla garden on a city road allowance. Return to the multi-generational house Realize that growth has been a thing in human civilization for 250 years and it is about to end, and make preparations for this change. Teach this to your children. Buy only the necessities. Don't buy new clothes. Go to the thrift shop. Don't use single use plastic, or if you repurpose it, unplug your garburator. Yes, Facebook spell check. That is a word. And compost everything. Relearn old forgotten skills. Don't let yourself get away with the argument that the plane is going there anyway when you book a holiday. Understand there is no such thing as the new normal, because next year it will be worse. Don't let yourself get away with the argument that the new normal, that we need to reduce. Wait. Understand before you make the argument that we need to reduce human population, meaning population elsewhere. It is not overpopulation in China or India that is causing the current problem. It is us and our Western lifestyle. Understand that those that are currently arguing against refugees and climate change are both increasing the effects of climate change and causing millions of climate change refugees, which will be arriving on Canada's doorstep, because Canada, due to our size and northern latitude, will be on the whole have some of the best climate refugees. Understand that every baby using disposable diapers is responsible for the equivalent of a cube van full, and every woman using disposable feminine hygiene products is responsible for an equivalent amount of uncompostable, incredibly high energy intensive waste that will be here for 500 years. Also, understand there's alternatives for both. Understand that the densification of our cities is condemning those in that density to a foodless future. Stop tolerating the middle ground on climate change. There is no middle ground on gravity. The earth is round and we are on the verge of collapse. Wow. He said, let's see, he's word of, so at last check, he says over 36,000 shares. And he said, thanks to Dr. Eric Rigno, Dr. Jennifer Francis, Dr. Jim Anderson, everyone at Berkeley Earth, those that put to keep up his Facebook page, CO2 Earth and Environmental Advanced Sciences, and Facebook up to date, the treasure trove of academic presentation. So this guy's a scientist. This is what he's saying. Wow. I'm glad I read it. Felt good. I've had a day and a night. Last night we went through freaking climate change. You know, the storms are getting worse. They're getting worse. They're getting worse. You know, my husband and I laughed all the way home on that, completely sober, but just he made me laugh because it was so scary that he made me laugh. I mean, we really felt like we were driving into a tornado, which in New York, you don't typically think of tornadoes. But everything's changing. Everything is changing. That article spoke to me because I do so much of that shit. I've still bought new clothes. I have all the shit I'm trying to unload. Yeah, we grow a garden. Yeah, we're trying, right? But I've said that shit, that when I went on a trip, well, it was because it was somebody said it to me. Maybe it was Hambone. That, if your ass doesn't buy the seat, somebody else's is going to. I don't want to fly anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. It's just our society is a society of mobility because everybody I love lives far, except for my kid, but I still got to drive there. So what's everybody saying out there, since this test has now become an emotional event for me? Hello, Mother Nature's son. Let's see. What viable solution have you heard of anywhere? Have you putting the ice back? Okay, it looks like you guys are having a conversation that I haven't seen. Hello, Kevin, and I'm not wallowing in doom. Oh gosh, Kevin says, I'm aware, but wallowing in doom is doing nothing. It's not part of a solution. I simply read somebody's article who is a scientist who maybe isn't wallowing in doom. He's an academician. This is reality. But every day I don't wallow. I was out there working outside with my, hands and what body parts I got left that aren't killing me with a neck brace on just to plant some, I hope, herbs while my old man is out there doing the garden and trying to fix up things. So maybe we can do, a little bit of what he says here. Maybe. Purging and getting rid of shit, simplifying the lifestyle. Hey, we might have passed a tipping point. Hello, Mother Nature's son. I'll get nice now. I'm not wallowing in doom. I never wallow in doom. And I don't give a shit when anybody says, there are serious things. But on a daily basis, I fight pain. I fight my body. But you know what? I'm never depressed because we take action to live a life, quality life, whatever any of you are doing. But this was good. And I'll put the link in. All right. So I don't know who's talking to who. How long have we been on? It seems like my test looked good because actually I did it and I looked at it here. Look. So me, I'm just as bad as everybody else with the technology and all the crap. I mean, I'm a hypocrite. What do you say to something like this? What do you say? You just read it, absorb it, and live. And what's the matter? Is Kevin being like a pain in the ass? And you know what? Everybody can be a pain in the ass. Kevin, where are you? Let me see. He does as much as he can. So good. So why is everybody arguing? Stop. That's the point. No arguing. Just, you know what? But the thing is, when you come to, okay, I've been pegged as a doomer channel. And on Facebook, it's not a doomer channel per se. What it is talking reality. How about it is a reality channel? I don't have my head up any conspiracy theories, ass. I don't follow chemtrails. I don't follow shit that is not real. I follow scientists. This guy is an academician. I worked in it for 20 years. But we've got to do things, right? You got to live. So there you go. Have a good day, guys. Unless you got anything else you want to say. I've been doing all the talking. Jeffrey. Let's see. Jeffrey says, not being an ostrich with his head in the sand is one takeaway. And that's for me. Yep. Well, none of us are ostriches because we're here, right? It's what we do with our time. And even if all of us, like me, a lot of times I can't do anything. Today happened to be one of those good days. I went outside and actually did something physical to green my place and to grow. So I want to grow some herbs. And you know what? I want to grow some meaningless, stupid flowers, maybe edible flowers. But because I need some beauty around me, even though I'm blessed for the beauty that I live around. So everybody, one day at a time, like the AA people say. Wake up and just say, fuck, I woke up. And you know what? We know the shit's coming. So make the choice. Hi, Brian Stevens. You're in, huh? You are what? Good. Whatever you are, you are. And Torstein. Thank you, Sandy. There you go. We have, we're alive. We're breathing. And, Mother Nature's son, the article is called, and I'll put it in I'm going to redo the stuff. But it is worse than that. Rocher.net. It was on 5/21, and I never ever do this. I always read from my iPad, but today, because I want to give this to someone, and it is Rocher.net, the home of Incredibish. I don't know. Does it look? Can you see it? Oh, there you go. There's the high. There I am. I'm screen sharing. Screen sharing 101 for morons. All right, guys. Hey, and you like I love this. This was from 2016. I have not endorsed anyone. I'm just wearing it because you know what? The hat makes me happy. Because I did have hopium at that election. Oh, well. Okay. You're welcome, Jeffrey. You have a great day. Anybody else want to talk about anything before I go? Oh, I see. Will there be any more? Probably because my husband and I are going to go to the Finger Lakes on the 8th of June and hang out for a night, drive around and hang out with Hambone, and I hope meet Basil and go to check out his whole setup. You know, we aspire to grow up and be like Basil. So that'll be cool. Yeah, maybe we'll do something. Because by then, anything could happen. We all know that. Would be nice. Wish I could just jump on a horse and buggy like my Amish neighbors and go all the way there, but that ain't gonna happen. And Veg says, thanks, good article. Listen, thank you. I really wish I had the nerve to take this test and start doing overlays and screens and moving shit and all, but eventually, you know, I'm kind of tired. Peter Evans, my olive oil savior. Oh my God. Came to the party. Hi. Came to our party and brought me absolutely the most wonderful olive oil in the world. 3 wonderful olive oils, and I have used almost 2 of them. So, Peter, it's nice to see you. Oh, going south. Yes, make America great again. I have to say, I did see a funny thing on Twitter. And she had the hat on and it said, make a make a black president again. I thought that was pretty funny. Well, anyway, I mean, sometimes you think things are funny. You see them. Twitter is crazy. I can't spend too much time on there. But the fact is, Twitter, my God, you can find yourself on there for hours. And I get angry on Twitter because I'm more anonymous. And I put things on I would never do as not an anonymous person, like on Trump's. I love to, I don't know why. This is pretty sick, maybe. But I troll Trump and I have an orange thing that says, kick Trump the fuck off Twitter. I guess that's my thrill in life. Isn't that pathetic? This is what it's become. I get a thrill off trolling Trump on Twitter. That started with that neck surgery. I would never be on Twitter before that. I have a life more than I have now. Trisha from New Zealand. I guess I'm not leaving. Wow, so cool. So many people are joining. Trisha, you might want to go back and listen to the article I read or look it up because I thought it was pretty good because it really did show this guy, you know, he's had his epiphany, worked in academia, and he had his epiphany. It's just, and honestly, I could have written it myself. I am just that hypocrite. I mean, I try so hard, but I sometimes, don't you all feel this way? You ever feel this way? Like you can't punch your way out of this? Like there's not enough you can do to even make these things happen. I mean, by virtue of the fact that my uncle died, I could move away from the city and I bought a cheap place, but it's away. Not everybody can do what I did, and I know I'm really lucky. So, anyway, thanks. Thank you. Yeah. I like that. Trisha, you're not a name that I recognize all the time. So this is really cool because I need some females. And Chris didn't know. Nobody knew I was going live because actually I was just going to test. But then the article just was sitting right next to me. All right. Well, how long have we been on? Because you know, we've been on for a while. I didn't even pay attention. Y'all happy now that I made you miserable? Oh, well, hey, at least we made it home last night. You know, we made it home. And I didn't even put up all the videos in that one I made because and they were the hail one. I didn't put it up. My husband and I, in case nobody knows, I put up a video. I took a bunch of videos driving home. We went to visit his nephews and their kids, the whole family thing, you know. And they were all camping. We're driving home. It was like almost driving into a tornado. We drove through the tornado watches. I didn't want to stop. And then he knew I was kind of scared. So my husband made me laugh the whole way home. He was hilarious. And we got home. But I took footage of it. But the worst footage I didn't even put up was the hail. And literally, the hailstones hit the car were the size of quarters. I mean, we're not used to that. Not really. Aw, Jeff says he feels like he's surrounded by sleepwalkers most of the time. You know what? I'm really obnoxious. I talk about it way too much. And yes, I did it at AT&T again. And I talked to the girl that was working with me, who's the mother of one, everything. And you know what, though? She was aware. And she wants to go back to school for marine biology. And man, if I was a wealthy person, I would give that girl the money to get out of AT&T and I would put her through school. But the people that are wealthy, those 1% greedy fucks, they don't do that. No, at least not that often, except that dude that paid off everybody's. Y'all had to see this, right? The guy was a graduate of, I don't remember the school. He paid off the whole entire graduating class, all of their school debt, the whole thing. Imagine if we had done that and didn't have this kind of mess. The Angel, thoughts from London. Wait a minute, let me put you up there. Thoughts from London. Hey! And I'm sure you're a girl. There are some females out there. Oh my God, this is like really awesome. Where did y'all come from? Would you just like run into me on here? I mean, I'm like relegated to a corner of a corner, like most of us feel in the doom sphere where I don't always want to be. But all right, guys, I'm going to let you go because I have two guys out there working, my husband and his buddy. And those Cro-Magnon men are hungry. Me, woman, will go feed them. I will take my dutiful role and I will go feed them a healthy meal. And guess what? With a lot of the stuff that we source ourselves, that we grew. Peace, you know? I love you. Thank you for coming to my test, which actually didn't turn out to be a test after all. Now I gotta find the finish button on this thing. Females work. Well, Angel, come back. Come back. I'm glad you came. We need to have women power too. Bye, guys.